Hopefully this works. If I move up. And it's gotta tweet it. Okie dokie, I did it. What are you doing? Take one of my headphones out so I can still hear things. Is the sound okay? Probably not. Okay, if I move... what did I do? Oh no, I broke it. Okay, no, I fixed it. Okay, never mind. I'm trying to make it so I can just see the chat so that I don't have to turn my head all the way over to my other monitor. Would make my life easier. Okay. So I'm gonna be answering art questions and drawing or adding to this picture. Which is a little bit different since the last time people saw it. I still gotta like edit stuff on his face and make him look pretty. And I'm in the middle of like painting Ethan as well and detailing it a bit more. This is like my good picture for like the last couple of months that I really want to look nice. And toys. This is a dude's workshop. He doesn't make toys, he makes robot stuff. Digitally paint is very, very, very simple. You get you open your... There's his mouth. Okay. You open your Photoshop or whatever you're drawing with. You pick one brush. This is a very big file size, so it might take a while to load my brushes. There we go. So for this one, I normally use this brush. It's just a rectangle brush and put transparency on it. Oh, thank you, Phoenix. Oh my gosh. Where are we? So you just take whatever you're doing on your picture and you paint over the top of it. That's pretty much it. So everything you need to actually be able to paint what you want, you would have to go more the fundamental route. So like learning form and what kind of stuff we have. And for some reason there's a fly that's decided to come into my room while I wanted to stream. What do I use to draw? I use Photoshop, and I also use a Cintiq tablet. So that's what I use setup wise. I'm also very good. Thank you, Phoenix. My first commission, I honestly don't remember my first commission. It's a very long time ago. Recommended digital painting app. I would probably recommend Photoshop just because it's the one I use all the time. No, I'm not gonna add like insects to this scene because it makes no sense. What's it called? I forgot what I was saying. Yeah, no, I'd say to use Photoshop. Otherwise, Clip Studio Paint is good because it's just designed for like artwork stuff, especially like anime stuff and comics. And then you can use other ones like Paint Tool Sai, which has got like a stabilizer and stuff in it. I find Photoshop's the best for me just because I like painting, and I find that this is the most... There's no stabilizer, so I kind of like have to be very specific about my brush strokes, which is great. What's the best? You'd have to look that up. I cannot help you in terms of that kind of tech. I've tried Paint Tool Sai. I didn't like it. It annoyed me. I hate this stabilized stuff. I don't know why. It just gets on my nerves. I'm just gonna see if I can play with his face a little bit more. So I'm trying to get it so that it looks good on the small size. That's pretty much what I'm doing at the moment. Actually, I think that eye's okay. I think it's this one that's bugging me. Do you like his scar? I like his scar. He's great. Yeah, now his eyes look like they're about the same size. Before, that didn't have that. That's why I thought it looked weird. Might change it slightly though. Trying to. Oh, that'd be why. I need more on the actual pupil. Shaking my head. Paint tool size epic. Look, Pi. Not everyone can use paint tool size like you do. Okay. Gosh, judging me in my Photoshop. Photoshop is my like favorite thing, okay? Just let me have it. Do you use bright colors when drawing, or generally you're supposed to go with more natural colors when you're painting. So like this has got a lot more natural colors, or like they're dulled. And then where I want you to look is where it's more vibrant. So like he's got very warm feeling skin. So like it feels like this area, like right around these here, it feels a lot warmer than like back here, which is all cooler colors and a little bit more dulled back. So you do use a little bit of both. You generally want your, like where you want it cooler where the shadows hit. And then you want it warmer, so like more vibrant and whatnot, where the light hits. Yeah, and his hair is the whitest white, it seems. It's not actually quite, it's actually a yellow. Look at that, it's in a yellow. But yeah, it is a little bit too bright. How do you draw my characters? I draw them, I guess, the same way everyone generally draws their characters. You gotta learn a lot of really basic fundamentals. So I'm just gonna blob a new canvas in here. So when you draw a character, you need a skeletal base. And this is kind of like drawing a stick man. There's a great artist that I like called Trent. He did one of these recently. So like if you want to draw and all you can draw is a stick man, that's great, because that's the starting tools. So you draw your stick man, and then in the next part you can draw shoulders on your stick man, and the hips on your stick man, and feet. You could give him hands too, look. And now it's starting to look like a person. Then you just slowly start learning the rest of the details to put on it until you actually have like a full body. So it's a learning curve. But it's definitely good. I'm using a pen. There is no way on earth I would be drawing with my mouse. This is not how, you can't draw this. Okay, if you could draw this with a mouse, I would want you to do all of my art for me, because it's too much. How long did it take? I still practice anatomy, so it's taken me all of my life, and I really wish I practiced it more when I was younger. I'm trying to make sure this looks good. So like, I like his old look for how I had it, but obviously this is a little bit more realistic. I'm just trying to make sure I fit the same expression and whatnot on his face, because it's really hard to do that. Do I like that better? Ignore the darker version of the background. I've got to fix certain things in the background, that's why that one's there. When did I start drawing? I've been drawing for most of my childhood, but I didn't really start getting better until like a couple of years ago, when I started getting more into it, I suppose. Do you ever not draw digitally? Oh yeah, no, I do draw traditionally. It's just only if I'm like out somewhere and there is no tablet to draw on. How do you practice anatomy? Books. So normally I'll grab a kind of a mixture of everything. Like, I was drawing hands the other day, and like literally when I draw hands, I find the best reference is my own hand. So like all of my hands were like literally just what I could see in front of me by like sticking my own hand on the computer screen and just staring at it. I'm like, yeah, this works. Other times it's like taking actual drawing exercises. So like, there were a bunch of random arm drawings at one point where I was like trying to figure out how the muscles worked and like where everything was. I still struggle at drawing the arms and the muscles and stuff, but like I'm getting there. If I'm drawing something for a specific piece, sometimes I'll go and see if I can try and find the exact arm pose with that kind of muscular structure, but it's not always the easiest. I learnt tutorials. There is no way you can learn how to draw naturally because you'll end up giving yourself all of these things that you'll just be doing incorrectly, and you're not going to be able to fix them because you'll never know that you're doing them the wrong way. So it's important to always look around and find out like what the professionals do, because they're going to give you faster ways of drawing stuff. First drawing software, yes, it was Windows Paint. I drew a lot in Windows Paint. I'm still proud of all of my pixel art in that, yeah. I don't even know about her. Yeah, Proco is really good for that. Tips on drawing perspective. Okay, I suck at perspective. This picture, I actually think I still got some sketches in here. So I'm gonna go back to, so this is how the picture started. Where are we? So there's a bunch of lines all over the place. This is literally how I worked. Oh, there we go. This is the original concept sketch. Smiley face. Shush pie. We don't talk about that beach anymore. Then I just adjusted it to like, this was the kind of angle I wanted. So I kind of just, you kind of eyeball rough ideas of what you want. And then I put in the perspective roughly. I think it still needed some adjustments though. Yeah, I can't find the grid that I was using. Ignore that. That doesn't exist. Oh yeah, then I drew them in. So that was a horrible fixed sketch of them. Then there was a picture of just Laz, and then there was Laz and Ethan on top. Then you put the colors underneath. Then put lighting in it. Clean it up. And then clean up the background. Then effects. And now I'm detailing the crap out of it. Yeah. Do I have any recommended tutorials? Okay, so there is a video on my channel called Inspiration, and I linked a ton of artists that I like in the description. I would say check out that, 100% check out the video, go through the description, and go to any tutorials for the style that you want to draw in, because certain things are going to work better, obviously. Like, not everyone's going to want to paint high detailed stuff like me. I have a problem where I like to torture myself with my artwork, and I wanted my old man to look like an old man. So I'm like, guys, I'm just gonna give him texture. That's how, okay, if I know someone asked earlier actually, oh, this dude isn't his dad. He's not related to him in any actual blood fashion. He's just his role model as such that he grew up with. He does look like an old man. Yes. Okay, so the way I can do children and, or I guess distinguishing age, it comes down to a couple of very strange things with the face. So, excuse me. So for starters, the older you get, the more ravaged, this sounds terrible, your face becomes. So you end up with like wrinkles, you've got texture throughout the face where you'll have like pores and stuff like that. So it's important to add those when you want a character to look older. When a character is a lot younger, they tend to have a lot softer, smoother skin. But when you hit like your 20s or even your teens, like you'll start getting like a real texture that you can see on your face. So it's important to draw those out. And that's what I was doing here. Like, you can see I got the wrinkles, like, around his eyes and stuff like that. But I need to make the pupils stand out a little bit more, because I feel like it's taking away from the style a little bit. So I'm just gonna... It's important that his eyes stand out, because I really liked the old thing I had for it. And I want to keep the texture, but I want to still stylize it to some degree. I think it's because I shaped this actually a little bit more. So I'm going to shape it again. And make the pupil a little bit bigger. It's important to like play around with some stuff. It's also not dark under here. It's not supposed to be dark under there, but I'm gonna... no, I don't like that much. It's hard. What was the art style used for the animation? That's just a standard chibi. So there's a reason I do it, and it's because I can just flat out draw the pose that I want really quickly without having to sketch it first, so I can just line art it and go. That's pretty much the reason why I like, when it comes to animating stuff, I always try and go the easiest route that I know I'll be able to like do really quickly, so that I can get my deadlines done on time. It's changed a little bit as my art has improved over time. Yeah, my art style's changed a lot. I actually went and had a look at some of my really old art, and it's ridiculous how different it is. How long did the whole animation take? They take like a month or so, I think, roughly. It depends on like, there's a lot of factors that can go into why and or how long something will take. It's generally like how much time I can dedicate to it and how long it is, how detailed it is. Sometimes certain animations will take longer for like unknown reasons. I don't know why I've got him sitting. I just kind of automatically went to him sitting. Let's have him sitting on a cat plush. Not a happy cat plush. Problem solved. I use Photoshop to animate. It's not the best option, but yeah. Easiest to animate in Photoshop. Leave me alone, Pie. Pie's mean to me, guys. Kind of like this, but at the same time I don't know if I do. So there's one thing I struggle with a lot, and it's the mouth. I definitely prefer like the outside of his face. It's just the eyes that keep bugging me so much. Why are they so hard? Ethan looks adorable though. He looks great. I am so proud of him. Pie, stop bullying Amy. It's okay. Pie's my friend, so. Have you ever tried Krita? I've heard of Krita and I've looked at it, but it's not one I've tried. I'm gonna cheat. This is cheating for me. Let's just get rid of that. No, I don't like that at all. That's kind of scary looking. Guys, don't cheat. It's not worth it. I don't know how I feel about that. How many... I'm trying to figure out, like, what I had to the old one. And now that I've undone it, I'm not sure. Okay, that was Ethan's face that I did. That's the old mouth. I don't really need the old mouth on there. I actually quite like that, so I might keep that there. Oh, there we go. So that's where some of the detail is. Is it okay to draw on an iPad? Yeah, that's fine. Some people, a lot of like good artists I know do stuff like that. Do you have any tips for someone who's just starting out drawing in Photoshop? Don't be afraid to check out like all of the options you have. So like play with all of your brushes and stuff like that. But maybe pick one at a time and just get used to using one thing at a time and then come back to it later. Because otherwise you get overwhelmed if you don't know what everything does immediately. But it's not, to be honest, it's pretty straightforward. There's a lot of tutorials that can probably like go over the bare basics and all of the shortcuts and stuff like that. Yes, I have a Chibi tutorial on my front page under the tutorials section, I think. It's really old though, I'm sorry. I wish you could just adjust little things in traditional art like that. I know, right? There's a bunch of pictures that I wanted to draw and I just haven't drawn. Because like it's just like it's too much work when it's traditional. Okay, so I need... Okay, I'm just gonna get rid of the eyes on this because I don't like how they came out. This is common for me. And what I'm gonna do is, okay, so my entire thing is to make his face and this thumbnail, this little thumbnail, look good. That's the entirety of the thing I want to do. Have you seen anything that Andy's... I've seen all the stuff Andy's voiced. And some of the stuff he's done stuff for, I've also assisted, like, with graphics and... yeah, I definitely want to use Krita, but, like, because I've been on Photoshop for so long, new programs scare me, and I don't want to use it. The hammer looks flat in the background. Oh, yeah, it is flat. It doesn't have any depth to it whatsoever, because I did it really quickly, and I got lazy. There's, like, half the things in there don't have a lot of detail. There's also a lot of little secrets in this picture, but I'm not going to explain half of them because I want people to see them later. No, it's definitely not because of the perspective. It's just because I was extremely lazy when I drew it. Animation stories with Andy. Oh, my Amy and Andy ones. Yeah, I used to do those a lot, but the problem is, like, I don't have time, and it's one of those cases of, like, there's a lot that goes into them, so, like, I have to be able to do voice acting, which I'm still not confident in. I have to find time to make it and come up with the comics for them, and then I have to edit them. So, of course, like, they don't generally always have time to get done, especially while I'm working full-time. It happens, though. Do you have any pixel art tutorials? I do! I actually have an entire set of books. They're a little dated, but they have, like, the foundation stuff all available on my Selfie? I think I got a Gumroad too, so one of those two. They'll be in the links and the descriptions. The first time I animated was terrible. Yeah, to be honest, animating is hard. I started with pixel just because I found pixel animation a lot easier. You are probably big... No. Okay, so you're never good at something off the bat. It just doesn't happen. For example, like, Andy's not going to be able to be an amazing artist when he hasn't done it for the first time. And I can't be an amazing voice actor for the first time because I haven't got any of the training, the confidence, or experience behind me. So it's one of those cases of it's something you're going to have to learn, and you learn slow. So I can do, like, minimal voice acting, but I can't do it to a level that I'm happy with because I'm surrounded by professional VAs that I get lines from and have to mix audio for. So you can see, like, there becomes a very big difference in what I consider acceptable after hearing so much professional work around me. Which is also good because it helps push my own expectations, and I kind of know what I'm doing a little bit more than I would if I was just doing it then and there. Who would you like to voice act for? To be honest, I just like getting involved with other people's projects in general. Okay guys, we're gonna do the hardest thing in drawing to do. I'm gonna flip the canvas. All of my problems are available for all to see now. It's the only problem with flipping the canvas. I realized I hadn't actually been drawing the entire time I was talking, and Ethan's hair is too much. I think his head's too much, actually. Ethan, I'm sorry, but I'm gonna give you brain surgery. It's okay, guys. I mean, you've seen him turn out alright when he's like 19. He's fine. For now. You should prioritize. Yeah. You have to prioritize what you want to spend your time focusing on. Pretty much, yeah. So at the moment, all of my time is spent learning how to get better at the craft that I'm being paid for. So, like, for now, yes. So, like, I really want to get better at voice acting. I want to get better at audio, mixing, and story writing. I kind of want to just get into everything, and the problem with that is I don't have enough time. I would like some more time, guys. If I had more time, I could make cool stuff. Like, I could animate the next episode of OC Chronicles, which I kind of... Okay, so it was supposed to be an animatic. It was supposed to be an animatic, and I kind of just started animating the first few seconds of it, and now because I'm practicing composition, I want to do more of that, so I'm just like, I'm gonna animate all of this. It's 10 minutes long, and I'm just like, it's not gonna happen at this rate. And I need to sleep too. If I didn't have to sleep, this would all be done. What is the drawing you're doing for? Okay, so this is mine. 100%. Everything in here is for me. These are my children. This is my child. His name is Ethan. This is my child. He's an old man. He's kind of my child. I made him. Please get sleep in. Okay, look, I'm not drunk or like sleep drunk. It's like 2 p.m. so I'm fine. 10 minutes of animation is a lot of frames. Yeah, it is, but like if it's all sketched, it could be possible to do it, and I kind of really want to do it, so I'm considering it. One day. But yeah, all of this is for my own thing. So there's a series on my channel called OC Chronicles, for those who have no clue what that is. Where I used to have like my speed paints like normal, but there'd be a story going on in the background while you could see a picture being played out. Then I started putting action scenes in it, and as great as that was with the audio, after a while you can't tell what's going on when it's a really heated thing and there's like multiple effects or sounds going on. So I wanted to do more like an animatic. But when you've got a 10-minute long video, it takes a while to do an animatic, and then you also get picky because none of the pictures look pretty enough, and it sucks when they don't look pretty enough because my children deserve to look pretty. Sort of. And Ethan looks pretty. Oh my god, I drew Gabranth too, and he was great. Where are we? Dying sun, she will... Ah! Sorry, there's a fly in my way. If I'm missing people's comments, it's just because, like, I'm trying to draw at the same time, so... The shelf is more whitish on the right than left. Don't know if that's the lighting. Yeah, it is, So where is it? This side has, like... This is where the light's coming from, so it's more warm. This is all dull because it's sort of like you're not supposed to be going to that side of the thing. So the warmest thing on this side is these two. Trying to make sure I don't like flood my screen with the wrong kind of stuff. I definitely want these two to stand out. I really, really, really want to make a picture that I am 100% like super duper proud of for multiple reasons. Not only that, it's just nice to have a picture like this, to be honest. So what is it? My children are very pretty. Thank you! I'm proud. You came from a Japanese live. That sounds cool. Yeah, so at the moment I'm trying to keep all the colors like in a specific way. Obviously not everything's gonna be pristine and perfect. I'm trying to make sure all of the characters are done well. Sorry, I'm just gonna mute something right now. There we go. I fixed it. You can't be Bitcoin here. I'm sorry, Phoenix. Yeah, this one doesn't have bits in it, sadly. Which sucks, because, like, bits are the fun thing, but I kind of realized I had a big fan base on here, and I kind of felt bad that I wasn't uploading very much for a while. So I'm uploading artwork. I'm just gonna flip this back over. Yeah, I'm trying not to lose the style that I have for my characters. So put that in there. That looks a little bit better. Certain lines were darker how I made them before. I actually had to fix like all the facial hair, because facial hair comes down kind of like in that shape. I didn't know that either. I had to go and look up an old man with facial hair to figure out how facial hair works, because I obviously don't have it. One day. This is true, you can throw money at me. I always feel mean when people throw money at me. Amy is always ready to dab on the hate. No, I don't dab. Andy dabs. He's allowed to dab all he pleases. I've got Gabranth dabbing. That's the entirety of my contribution to that meme. That was good enough for me. I actually need to animate that. I was gonna animate Gabranth doing a bunch of like dad joke stuff. So we had the Yas one. People have asked me to do Yeet, and I want him to do a dab, and I want Ethan to be very disappointed in his dad when that happens. Okay, so another thing that might be the case is the coloring around here. Yeah, that helps. So your eyes don't really have, you don't see a lot of light on the eyes unless they're like gigantic. And that's sometimes really hard to draw because then I'm not sure where to put certain things because it doesn't really fit on the face. So all of the structure is off when that happens. Also, nobody will ever understand, but mouths are horrible to draw. Like, drawing realistic lips on characters is hard. Everything about that video sounds amazing. Yay. Aw, thank you, Phoenix. You're so sweet. Pie is dabbing right now. Press D to dab. Yes, Gab doing dad jokes. Yeah, I definitely want to do that kind of thing. I love my characters to like a ridiculous extent. So like obviously I want the best for my children. They will have the best, whether you know, like people will give it to them or whether I give it to them myself. Okay, I'm trying to make sure that everything is noticeable that needs to be noticeable for the expression to stand out. So, for example, like the corner of the mouth. If the corner of the mouth stands out because of the values, this is where this is important, then it's generally all good. I don't actually think it should be moved in like that. I might move it back over. Just giving my characters plastic surgery. That's painting is basically just that. You just give your sketches plastic surgery until it looks good, and then problem solved. Oh my gosh, thank you so much, Llama Freak. That's so nice. Drawing is hard. Yeah, drawing is hard. So like, Amy, the best. Also, Amy destroys their life. Look, I'm sorry, but things have to happen. Like, I've given you all of these wholesome pictures of my OCs so that, like, you can forgive me when I ruin their lives. That's what this entire thing is. So it's not really that wholesome when you think about it. It's pretty bad. Everything went grey. Okay, yeah, so I always have a black and white filter, which goes over the top. So this is grayscaling. And basically, you can see in here, if the main point that you're trying to get people to look at is like easily noticed in black and white, then you've done a good job. This is where your values are very important. Okay, I'm just gonna get rid of this. There we go, that's better. Put it back to like what it was, and then strengthen that. Is this black? No. I can make it darker then. Yeah, his eye is, he can't see out of that eye anymore. Oh my gosh! You must appreciate Amy and her children. Thank you so much! It's really appreciated. They will have the best, have villains hurt them. Well, I mean, they beat villains eventually. Like, most characters beat villains, I suppose. Not all characters. Some people may die, and then I'll get very sad because it was my fault. Artists are like terrible, terrible people. We just get upset at ourselves. That's the entirety of our job. So as much as we love like our children, we're just like, oh my gosh, guys, look how cute my OCs are. Then we just ruin their lives, and then we get upset about it, and it's our fault. Okay, he's got big nostrils. I think noses are the thing I struggle with the most. I don't technically have to change his nose, but like if something feels like it's off, then obviously like I play with it, so I could try and fix it. I'm also trying to add a little bit more texture. When in doubt, put texture on it, because that's probably where it feels like it's lacking. Please don't kill Gab. I think everyone would get very upset at me if I killed Gab. Since donations usually go to VAs to give... Yeah, they pretty much do. Like, they still do. Thankfully, Laz is voiced by Andy, so he won't cost me anything. That looks a bit better. Yeah, it looks more like a real face, with this kind of texture on it. Unfortunately, this file's gotten so big that it takes forever to save it now. You can also see that I've got to fix his finger down there because I actually moved it, so that it's holding it more correctly because it wasn't very good. The thing that's annoying me the most, I think, at the moment is getting the mouth correct, but also so that it looks nice. So I'm gonna do something else first. Where are we? Okay, one brush that everyone should use. The soft brush. So it's just like the normal round brush. Then you put the softness all the way down here. Put it down to 0. Put transfer on with the pen pressure. And it's like, it's a great blending tool. So I can now like just grab a color. Let's just grab this color. Why not? It's purple. It works. You can use it to add like extra tones and stuff to your work. So I'm trying to like make certain forms go out more. What did the old picture have? Oh, that's it. It had more around here. There was more light, so it stood out a little bit more. I'm trying to figure out what the forms were. Obviously it looks a little bit different with the beard actually being in the right place. How do you draw so well? You practice a lot. So you draw every day. You go looking up tutorials on how to draw certain things that you're not sure of. You grab a ton of reference pictures, which I currently do not have because I'm not very smart. You pretty much like figure out the kind of stuff you like to draw or the things that you're interested in. You go follow a bunch of artists who draw similar stuff, and then you figure out what they do to do that kind of stuff. Like for me, I've recently gone more into realism, which you can probably see by the expressions on their faces from here. But like old stuff wasn't like that. It was way more stylized, like this. Or where are we? Oh no, where's my pencil brush? Sorry, I've got a... There it is. This is the brush I currently like using. So like I can go from drawing realistic to drawing something way more cartoony. Because I understand the fundamentals. So as soon as you understand like form and perspective, colors, you know, like the bare basics, and then like you can start going into anatomy just so that you can draw everything in its proper proportion. Chibis would probably be a good thing to start with. I'd say yes and no, because chibis are a simplified version of what you would draw normally. In the sense of, like, you need to understand what you would be drawing normally, and then you just take aspects of that and make it even simpler. But if you don't understand enough of the basics, you can't do that, if that makes sense. Then all your proportions are normally off because you've been doing it the wrong way. Oh, thank you. I'm very happy you like my animation stuff. I really like drawing the shoulders like just down for some reason. All of my artwork lately has literally had the same pose. I have a problem, I swear. Okay, let me see. What does that look like? I don't mind that, but I think it's probably incorrect. Hello! Oh, cool. I'm glad. Like, drawing is a lot of fun. So, obviously, like, the more people that can, like, enjoy it, the better. I also drew another picture recently, which was this one. I'm sorry, it's another large file. Oh yeah, I think Andy's like bought something. Or he bought something else, I can't remember what it was. There we go. So this is a picture of Gabranth as a kid with his pet snail. I don't know why, but we just gave him a pet snail. We're like, he needs something that's not gonna run away from him, that's like super chill and easy to look after, he can just take everywhere, and we're like, a snail. So this is Shelby, Gebrandt's snail that he had. But yeah, that's another picture. I spent a while on the... So I'll take that off. That's all the foreground elements. And yeah, so I redid the face. That was the old one. And then obviously like I went and kept looking stuff up and playing with it a lot. So yeah, Shelby. He made it a pun because I let Pat do it. And he's just like, yep, it needs to be Shelby. I'm just like, great, okay. My fans will get a good chuckle out of that one. I gotta love Pat. He's just great. The VAs have helped shape a lot of what I do with my characters stuff, which is nice. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna make this brighter. Cause this is like more of a flat plane on the character. So if I can, what have we got here? It's funny because the facial hair really does change a lot. The eyes on my drawing are so derpy. Change the what's it called? Flip your canvas. Or if you're doing it traditionally, I suppose, look at it in a mirror. There we go. I did it. I solved the problem. Because then you get a rough idea on if it looks okay from both angles. And sometimes that, like, on its own will help. Suddenly felt, like, really smart. The backgrounds are so detailed sometimes. Can't find anything to draw. To draw any recommendations? Oh, to be honest, it's kind of hard because it depends on what kind of stuff you like. Oh, that works. Let me go run to a mirror. Be right back. Yes, sweetie, I solved a problem.
Oh, okay, I'll go.
No, you know how like you can't flip your canvas in real life? You can hold it up to a mirror.
Well done.
Yeah, did it! He's not that proud of me, like...
I'm very proud of you.
Yay! Any tips on starting realism? Probably start with the face, because there's a lot of tutorials with the face, but also there's a lot of really difficult features, on the face. So, like, if I had to break it up... Sorry, Laz, I'm gonna just destroy your face. So you've got the nose, which is basically just a box. And then you've got this piece, which comes down, and that comes... So I do have a tutorial, like, or at least a reference, by me. It comes like this. And it comes underneath the mouth. It's kind of like what you see when you see an ape, actually, funnily enough. There's also... I suppose that comes down because of this bit. Oh, actually, this bit can come up higher, so... It's kind of weird. The face is really weird. And then, of course, you got the jaw. You've got the chin. His chin, I'm just don't ask right now, because I'm not shaping it properly. There's a reason that this bit, it's the cheekbones, then you got like the eyebrows, and then the eye socket. But like, there's a reason that when you see a character that like this bit is like all sunken in. It's because it's not really a lot of the face. Yo, Amy, you want a scholarship? I don't know what you mean by that. How to draw hands on nose. So I'm gonna be honest, I am not very good at noses. It's one of those cases of just look at a reference as much as you can, because you're gonna need a visual representation of it as much as you can to see what you're doing and what you're doing incorrectly, I suppose. But noses also have a lot of different shapes, so it can be quite difficult to figure out how to draw it correctly, and it also depends on the angle they're looking at too. Like if you're slightly up or slightly down, it'll change the shape of the bottom of the nose quite a lot. What colors do you use for warm shading on skin? So I can use my color picker. I'm just gonna give myself an actual brush. So I use a lot of pink or peach. Then I'll go into like pink colors, which you can see like through here, there's like tones of pink in there. Then there's yellow. And then for the cooler parts, it starts going into like purple, like a pinkish purple color. How long did this drawing take you to draw? So far, it's been a good couple of days to a week, I think. I've gone off and on to it and tried to like give myself other things to do so that when I come back I'm always refreshed with like a new perspective on what to do with it. So there was a couple of things that I saw earlier. I'm trying to like go through everything. You love my merch design. Thank you. I have a lot of merch designs. They're actually all on sale at the moment. So if you haven't already, you can check out my t-shirt shop. I think it's actually linked in the description of the live stream. So yeah, is this a pic from a series? Yes, this is mine. My series with my children in it. Look at how pretty they are. I literally learned how to draw specifically so that I could draw my children. My old man child. Yeah. How do you make the body and head? Similar to this. So, for me, at the moment, when I draw, normally, like, I'll have a rough idea of the kind of pose I want, but everything is broken down into shapes that can kind of feel like it's 3D. Because that's the hardest part. Was for a long time I drew pictures as though everything was only on a flat surface, and that was the problem. Whereas now I kind of look at things as though everything is in a three-dimensional space. So, like, you can see that they're kind of looking in a different direction than usual. They'd be looking like downwards. You could have a really cool lighting effect where the light could all be coming from here and like this is all shadowed. But yeah, you normally draw out like a lot of the shapes separately. So if you've got a, like for your hand for example, you kind of just draw this shape first. Because if you open your hand and look at your palm is almost like a box shape. Where your fingers sit, it curves round, so you can put a curve there. There's like an oval shape here, and then your fingers actually can come out in 3 different connections, so you can just draw the 3 connected parts. So you break everything down into more simple shapes, and when you draw it, I drew it too close. But then there's also like, this is a simplified version of the hand and it doesn't look correct. Because then you've also got things like the wrist is going to connect from there, and then you've got like the muscles that come down, there's also veins, and there's a lot of stuff. Also this finger is not actually longer than this finger. I draw my hands incorrectly all the time, so. I need help to make my drawings pop, struggling with shading and texture. So, one thing that I notice a lot of people don't realize with shading is broken up into 2 different categories, in a sense. So, you've got ambient occlusion, which is the shadows that define the shape of what you're drawing. So, for example, I don't think I've actually still got that thing I was doing. So for example, you would have ambient occlusion would be like this. So I can show you that this is, you know, like a rounded shape by just that. But then if I was to add lighting to it, you would have the actual, like, you know, this is where the sun isn't hitting it. So you've actually got two different forms of shadow that you need. It's kind of hard to do it without, like, painting it. Supposedly there is, like, an easier way. As you can see through here, like, all of these colors and that, the way it's done, you can see it kind of, like, creates a flow with how the face looks using the darker and lighter tones. So if you want it raised, use a highlighted color. If you want it sunken in, you use a darker color. And then when it comes to texture, it's a case of kind of just guesswork if, like, you're really new to it, but finding a reference for your texture is good. So for example, like, I had to texture his face quite heavily. And what I did for this, because you got, like, the pores on your face, I kind of just grabbed my square brush and I started just blotting it all over the place. And then if I didn't like, because it was too much, I just go over the top and smooth it out just a little bit. So that texture is still there, but it's not a very heavy texture. You only want the heavy texture in there when, like, you really want it to be prominent. Which in most cases it's not too much of a necessary thing. But your ambient occlusion in most cases will handle all of your texture work because you have to define each item in it, etc. How do you make anime hair? You're probably going to have to look for an anime tutorial on that because anime hair doesn't always really work in a logical sense. Like, Laz's hair is kind of an anime hair. I don't know how it would actually function on a real person. So it doesn't really help. My favorite anime. I don't know if I have one. I like a lot of anime. There's a lot of good stuff around, so I kind of just go with whatever. Okay, I'm still trying to get his face. Like, I like the character that I got in that one, but that one just feels more real, which is good. I could always move the eye over more, or I could stretch the face. Decisions. I think if I make this darker, there's actually, like, a piece that you have normally under the eye, but I'm gonna bring this up. Oh, actually I could bring his nose up a tiny bit. I'm just gonna be cheeky and cheat as much as I can. I mean, it's technically not cheating, it's just painting, so... Okay, see, yeah, there's a definite dip here, because it's separating the muscles out. It's so interesting seeing, like, the different shapes of the face. Because it gets more defined as you get older. Isn't that Gab and Seth? Yes, that is Gab and Seth, as kids. They were adorable children. He's getting a nose job. Yeah, he is. Is your drawing this good in real life? Well, I can't, like, paint in real life because I do not have the patience to wait for something to dry so I can paint on it some more. But I can sketch, I guess, as good as I can on the computer. It's just, you know, it's on paper. It's nice to see, like, people getting excited about, like, what's in the background on this. I've promised a friend I will add a detail in because they really wanted me to add a detail in, so I'm gonna do that. How do you draw characters from the top perspective? There is a really cool YouTuber I like. I think his name's James. I can't remember what his YouTube channel name was. Modern James. That was it. I found it. I'm smart. Okay. So Modern James does a lot of tutorials, and they're all about the 3D aspects of drawing. So like how to draw a 2D picture in 3D, and he has a good tutorial for that. So I would definitely say just check him out, and see what he's got that might give you a hand for like drawing from the top perspective. Because I do not draw from really high up perspectives, just because it's not really a good frame for my characters that much. This music in the background is so epic. I'm trying to figure if I actually need this to be that dark or not. There is a dip here. And it works, but I take a lot of pride in these characters' faces looking the way I want them to. Comes down to, after a while though, if you want to go for a stylistic look or whether you want to go for a realistic look. Because certain things just don't work in realism. Obviously, if you want giant eyes on a character, it's not going to work. I do have inspirations. Check out my inspiration video. Why do people think it's a locket? They literally say what it is in the episode. It's a pocket watch. Also, there's some more stuff with that, but yeah. How do you have patience for backgrounds? Kind of grin and bear it. I just really want to be this picture because I love it, so I really want it to look nice, so I just keep coming back to it, and if I get annoyed with it, I leave it and go and do something else. Because there's like another 4 pictures that I would like to draw. The next one is not going to be wholesome, and I am very sorry for those who are probably going to be very sad by it. But there's like a couple of really sad pictures that I want to draw of my OCs, because I am the world's biggest jerk to my OCs. Y'all think my bosses are bad. Whew, boy. I want to make people cry without, like, a sad event happening in the moment. Because it's just great to see how good my writing can get and see how many people I can make very sad without actually giving, like, an intense moment. It's just like, haha. That's the real, like, test, is can you make people cry without killing a person, or like, you know, that kind of stuff. Because everyone always goes for the worst thing to happen, because obviously it's the worst thing to happen. So I'm gonna just put some, see, this is texturing. I'm basically just putting little hairs in so that it feels like he's got an actual beard, when in reality it is still a flat image, just doesn't really have fuzz on it. My earlier techniques did not work. I kind of just grabbed a brush that I thought would look nice, and it didn't really work that well. Oh, okay, Andy brought up a good point, because we were talking about anime earlier. So, The Promised Neverland, I finished it. It is so good. If you haven't seen it, go see it. If you've seen it, go see it again. It's good stuff. It made me cry. It was good for that. It was good at, like, making me upset. I was very sad. Like, this is sad anime, but it's really good. I take a lot of inspiration from certain animes I watch. Like, there's a couple of moments in FMA that it happens after a really big moment, but it's the reaction from certain characters that make it really intense and, like, awesome for me. So, like, everyone gets upset about Nina from FMA, but I got upset over one scene with Hugh's daughter. I think it was in the original one, actually, not in the other one. But it was one line she said, and it was enough to make me break down into a sobbing mess. And it's like the most simple thing that a kid would say. So that's why I love stuff like that. Trying to make sure his face looks nice. Yeah, he's got smoother features than, obviously, than Laz does. Him being a little elf boy. Half elf boy. His mom was a high elf. His papa, not so much. That's his papa. He's beautiful. Have you read the manga yet? No, I haven't. I don't normally have time. Whenever I watch an anime, I put it on while I'm working because I'm working and I need like background noise. Not to mention, because I do a lot of animation now, it's kind of like, it's really handy to have something animated in the background because there'll be little things that I notice, and obviously that can inspire some learning stuff, which is good. I basically spend all of my time learning how to draw better, or animate better, or tell stories better, and it's probably not going to change for a long time. I want to get really good at stuff. Yeah, I'm darkening the white a little bit. The white's important because it's a symbolized thing for something, and it's actually popped up a couple of times. How do you develop the personalities of your characters? So all of mine came from either like an idea I had just randomly. Like Ethan was the first one I ever made, and he actually has probably the weakest personality out of all of my OCs, just because I didn't have a purpose for him. Whereas this guy was created solely for the purpose of being the only father figure in Ethan's life when his father was gone. So he is very to the point, very he's kind of like, he's not your best role model, but he's one who's very happy to sit around this kid and give him a purpose, like way back in the day when he had nothing left. And same with like some of the other characters. I got like Tama was made specifically because I needed a doctor in Kaizen's group, and I didn't know what I was going to do with him, but he turned out to be the best thing that I'd made in like ages. But we came up with like ideas based purely on his job. For example, like when you go to a doctor and you get a shot, you get given like a lollipop. So she's like, well, why not make all of his meds candies? Because he likes sweets, and he's a bit of a bigger guy. And then he's also gay, so him being a hands-on doctor kind of works in his favor a little bit. So, you know, like, it came from like all these little things of just fun. He was also based a little bit off Māori stuff, just because I was from New Zealand, and a lot of my family history actually delved into like Māori culture and stuff. So it's kind of cool being able to just have a darker skinned character, because I hadn't really made a lot of them prior. It was mostly because, like, obviously certain races in these worlds are based on something specific. Like the elven characters look a little bit more oriental compared to like the western themed people from Lumiere. So like he's more western themed, so's Gabranth. But then when you look at like Alina, she looks a lot softer and looks a little bit more like a an oriental themed person. So same with Brom. I think I tried to do the same thing with him and Hime. How'd you find your voice actors? Ethan's one, Pat was very, very kind and sent me in his direction. He was perfect. Like, I don't think I ever, like, needed to send auditions out. I'm just like, that's it, nope, he's Ethan, end of story. He was perfect. He's exactly how, like, I envisioned him when I was, like, 14 when I made Ethan. I was so happy. I like fangirled so much hearing my baby talk for the first time. And then we kind of already knew Kimiko would be Lizzie because she did a really good job with like a hardened character for Harrowed Past. And then who else do we have? Pat. I kind of asked Pat to do Gabranth just on a whim. And he made me want to do more with the character to the point where I'm like, okay, all of this amazing stuff is happening to this character. This character is awesome and the best thing in my group now. So it kind of just happened. Tama was the hardest to find. We sent out, well, we asked for auditions. We got like a ridiculous amount of people send their stuff, and I think we had like 50 different emails of like different VAs and their stuff. And then we found Tama's current VA, and oh my gosh, the voice that came out of the... Because I have a picture of him. He does not look anything like I thought he would look like with the voice that he's got. It was so good. I was so happy to cast him. So we were freaking out because we were just like, oh my gosh, Tama is perfect. And then he kind of just like made me want to do more with the character again. Seriously, all the VAs just make me want to do more with my characters, like, to a ridiculous extent. I'm trying to figure out if I want... I don't think I need to do that. There is, like, a slight dip at the front of the nose for some reason. It's not always there, but it exists sometimes. I want to be a voice actress one day. Well, try a lot, practice a ton. You know, spend all of your spare time learning how to do your craft that you want to do. I feel like the mouth is still wrong. Why, Les? Everything else about you is perfect. Why does your mouth bother me so much? This has been my life for the last few days. Just... I thought I'd finished. No, I do not like that. That looks terrible. No! Okay, so his nose actually looks better further down. So that's probably why I thought it looked weird. So I'm just going to keep that further down. The nose actually takes up quite a lot of space on the face, which is why when you got styles that don't have one, they look so weird because you're so used to putting a nose there. Maybe try to see his mouth without facial hair. Unfortunately, because he's looking down slightly or the camera's up a little bit higher, you wouldn't see the upper lip because he's got facial hair there. And I can't take the facial hair off because that's just part of his character design. Oh no, Teresa's spider is called Leggy. Can I comment? Why does your mouth bother me so? Yeah, this is the entirety of my streams. I'm sorry. What would Shelby the snail's voice be like? I don't think snails generally have voices, unless, you know, I've just been living wrong my whole life. Which, I mean, there's a possibility of it. Where am I at? I'm getting confused. I do this a lot. Yeah, I do really want to do some more stuff like this detailed, but it's a lot of work. Oh, that explains a lot as well, actually. So the shape of his face down here, because of the lighting, it's actually changed quite a lot. So if I put it a little bit lighter down here, where the chin would be, I might be able to fix some of it a little bit. It's also the facial hair, the way that it shapes around the outside of the mouth. I don't think it was the 21st. When I finished, it was just Leggy. They just made jokes about, like, other names it could have, but at the end of the day, it was called Leggy. I know, because it's written on the actual, like, concept art I made for Leggy. Okay, so if I'm gonna just... That helps a little bit. Yeah, I did some chibis like, a while ago of these characters. I don't have one of Laz though. I do need to draw him as a chibi. That'll happen one day. Imagine little Gabranth talking to Shelby with little squeaky voice. Shelby might be a magical snail. It's this, what's it? Shelby the snail has, what's it called? Anxiety. Like, it helps with anxiety. That's what they use the slime from those snails for. So, like, without realizing it, Gabranth ended up with, like, a pet that actually helps him with his anxieties. We're just like, no, he has to have a useful pet that's also adorable and that no one else would generally have. A pet snail. No, we already said that Leggy would have a sexy, deep voice. Shelby's a lady. Shelby needs to have a lady voice. Thank you. Maybe like an old lady voice. Like, super old lady voice. You have to ask the VA that does Tama to just do Leggy's voice, so it's like super deep again. Why is the ear is weird? I mean, it looks good enough, like, to pass as an ear, but I'm kind of just grasping at straws again now, and I'm just like, I don't actually know what this thing looks like, but the laziness of having to look up a reference is overbearing enough where I'm not looking up a reference. This is the entirety of my life. Okay, so his hair looks like hair, which is nice. I'm gonna make this a little bit brighter. What have I got for that one? Yeah, this was a lot brighter when I did it before, so I'm gonna actually add a bit more. Just so I can try and make it look like it's fuller to have the old shape of the face. How old is Shelby? I don't actually know how old snails live for, so we'd have to figure that out first. Get Inaris to do lol. I mean, I could also have Teresa technically do it, but I named Gerald from the last live stream. Lol. I can't remember who Gerald was. I know we drew something, but I can't remember. Oh no, it was pixel art. That's what it was. I forgot. Oh my gosh. Zoomed in, this looks really nice. The problems I've got at the moment, and this is something that a lot of people struggle with, is making the thumbnail so when it's zoomed out look just as nice as when you zoom in, because this is where everyone will see. They'll generally see it that size because that's the size people see it on social media, or when like it's uploaded to YouTube if this was the thumbnail. So I'm trying to make sure that that looks immediately recognizable for what I want. Gabranth finding Shelby dead. Oh, stop ruining the wholesome moments, guys. It's my job. How many years have you been drawing? Since I was a kid. Snails live for around 5 years. I would say that his snail's probably about 1 to 2 years old then. So he's a young snail. Plot twist, Shelby isn't a mighty demon. Pie. No. Look, this is my law. Leave it alone. Okay, I'm gonna put... I gotta actually detail some stuff in here. I need to put more details in here. A couple of books. Certain somebody's dinosaur. Why? It exists, but yeah. I'm amazed that people can add such a story about snail. It's because everyone likes the snail. Do you post this series on your channel? Yes. It's called OC Chronicles. It's Ethan's one. There's like 15 or 16 episodes. I can't actually remember the proper number. A couple of them are animatics, not all of them. But a couple of them. And then the rest of them are like speed paints with audio. That was the word I wanted. Audio instead of like just the music. So you get like a full audio there. Show me the snail's the best. Everyone seems to just attach themselves to all of my, like, weird pets and stuff. Also, for some reason, most of my pets so far have been, like, really small insect-like things. Okay, more shadow there, because we've got his hair. I really like playing with these kinds of characters. So these things here would be made out of leather. This one needs to be moved down because it's actually too far up. Yep. And so would this actually, so... Yep. I hope you guys appreciate the pretty music in the background. I literally just found music that's under adventure because it's pretty. Yeah, that's a little bit better. This is actually supposed to have a metal piece attached, but it doesn't have it there. So I'm just gonna fix that. There we go, that's better. And that would attach into that one. And then you got the same thing on the other side, so... I actually have to think about the utility of everything they use, so it's quite hard. What website? I'm using Photoshop, it's not a website, it's a application. And oh my gosh, Fly! Why won't you leave? I didn't even know we got flies, like, in the UK. I never see them. Why does Gab get a magical snail but Ethan can't get a... Because dinosaurs didn't exist in this world. Like, not every world would have them. So... Stinking Alec and his damn dinosaur is gonna be the death of me, I swear. He was looking for it too. I sent him this picture when I, quote, finished it. And he's just like, I'm looking for that dinosaur. I'm just like... I told him, I promised I would add a dinosaur in. I might add it off camera. So everyone can go looking for it when the picture's finished. Oh, that's right. I actually need to add a detail to this one that I haven't done. Okay, now it's actually, like, recognizable. I was supposed to do this earlier and I forgot. Yeah, for those who have seen my series, like, there's a few things in this particular picture that'll crop up later. So, look, we're gonna have Ethan writing a dinosaur in a comic where you have all... Technically, yes, I could do that. I probably won't. The dinosaur joke isn't going to go extinct anytime soon, is it? No, it's really not. Small little insects can be a bummer if someone accidentally stepped on them. Pretty much, that would be a problem. I made the snail really vibrant so that no one would step on it. Apparently it's actually a thing. Somebody makes or paints snail shells so that when snails are, like, out and about, they won't get stepped on because they are, like, really bright and shiny. I'm like, that's so cute. So I wanted my snail shell for Gabral to be, like, really vibrant so that you'd see it no matter where he was. Also means he won't lose it. So, you know, that helps. Okay, I'm gonna actually make his eyebrows thicker. I feel like that was also a thing that helped with his character a lot more. Because I'm fairly sure I actually changed the size of his eyebrows quite a bit. So if I... Now it matches the other side too, which helps. Yeah, now he's looking, he looks more like just an updated version now, which is what I wanted, so... Drawing faces is, like, quite difficult. Drawing lips on men is really difficult, because obviously, like, most people don't accentuate lips on guys. And so, like, if you draw lips too detailed, it looks weird. But also you have to have it, like, perfect, or it looks like it's not correct, so it's just really awkward. Wouldn't that smell? Yes and no, because it depends on, like, if they're in an area where there would be predators, I suppose. Not only that, but sometimes brighter colors was used because, like, to symbolize that they were, like, a dangerous color as well. And because most creatures, I guess, wouldn't go after something that's really brightly colored. They'd go for something that feels more natural. So this is good fun, just, like, playing around with the ideas. Yay, we're starting to get the look I want. So, like, you can actually see it now in the thumbnail, which is what I was after. I'm trying to make sure he doesn't, like, he's wearing, like, eye makeup though. This can be a little bit darker. We have these bags under our eyes around there. This is just to help with the shape of his nose. Okay, I'm gonna... When in doubt, just darken it. Yeah. Yeah, there we go, that works. Okay, that helps a lot. Drawing lips is one of my least favorite things to do. Yeah, I've started doing it more recently. Just because I'm trying to... Everything that I don't draw, I'm trying to draw more of. It just sort of, like, helps be able to do stuff. I hope your cat wins against the air. That is great. That's the kind of stuff that you record for YouTube. We need more wholesome stuff on YouTube. YouTube is very... not so wholesome, like 90% of the time. So it's nice to see wholesome stuff on it. Yeah, I'm trying to keep little Ethan as, like... He's very innocent at this age. It's really difficult though with the face. Trying to make sure it, like, looks correct. And then obviously there's lighting and stuff that I need to fix. So I'm trying to make sure I can do all that. Do you have someone we can read or watch your story? OC Chronicles on my the front page of my YouTube. You can see a series of speed paints. They're all in one playlist on the front page. And it'll go through episode 1, or technically like the first episode. Then there's a flashback, which unfortunately is not finished because I needed to fund that. That's only funded when people were, like, helping me with the payments for that one. But it goes up to like episode 16, and the latest episode has a few more pictures in it than the older ones do because they started getting longer. But yeah, you like this piece. I'm very happy you like this piece. I like this piece. This is one of my favorite pieces I've ever drawn, and that was the goal for it. Okay, actually, gonna go to that. Yeah, pretty much what I'm doing here is I'm just changing the values. So like without it, you can see now the beard sticks out now in the corner. It didn't before, same with the pocket watch behind. I still gotta do more with like the facial hair and stuff. Rip pipe cleaners. I might change to a different picture soon just because my computer is starting to get angry with me for having such a big file open. I don't think it likes it very much. I don't actually have any other work in progress pictures to work on either, so I gotta draw a new one. Shocking. I was doing like so good. I had like a ton of pictures, which I actually still have a ton more ideas for pictures. I want to draw Hime's first birthday party at Kaizen's house, and I wanted to draw some characters playing poker because of a stupid conversation me and Andy had earlier. So there's a bunch of stuff that I still want to draw. And then there's some not so wholesome moments of really, really depressing things happening because, you know, we all gotta do that. Oh, that's awesome, Boswell. Yeah, I like that kind of idea. So, like, you can put, if you put the playlist on for OC Chronicles, you can learn the story, little bits and pieces at a time. But you can do it while you draw yourself. So, it's an audio story. And I worked hard. I actually mixed all of the audio myself. Casted everybody myself, wrote the whole scripts, all the scripts for the episodes, drew all the pictures, which, you know, like, that's a lot of work. Unfortunately, the series didn't pick up enough where I could, like, solely dedicate my time to it, but it was enough where I could, like, where I've kind of kept it in the back of my mind where I still want to add stuff, so... LOL. Yeah, you and your Chronicles High AU. There's some silly things that, like, I could do with AUs. I want a Mafia AU because I don't shut up about Mafia stuff. I'm, like, so obsessed. I really want someone to make Mafia themed stuff because I like it. I drew Gabranth wearing Mafia clothes once. I don't think it went any further than that. I feel like these should probably be metal, actually. But I didn't do that in his actual character design, so... I'm gonna just take small chunks out of the top of it. Actually, I could put a cap on it. Probably would have a cap on it, realistically. Functionality of all of your character's items are important, guys. Don't do what I do and just draw something and then not know how it works. Mafia Kimiko would be amazing. She would. She'd be like, the kind of person to, like, just win all of the things from the shadows. But she's, like, walking around in a sexy outfit and she's just like, yeah... I absolutely love my OCs. I like being able to, like, change stuff with them. Okay, I might make... no, I don't want that sticking out. No. Okay, let's get some red in here, or pinkish colors. I do this a lot. Yeah, so this adds just a little bit more of a warm feeling to it, which is something I do every now and then. It's really useful when you want to set, like, the mood. This is a very good, like, wholesome, happy moment. So I've tried to make things feel warmer. But then there's also, like, a really bright blue down the bottom which grabs your attention. And then you kind of question what he's doing. So you can look around the page a bit more. He made baiting everyone into giving her... Lol, she wouldn't even have to. If she asked Brom for money, he would just give her money. He's a sucker for his daughter. He'll do anything she asks because he loves her to bits. But she's a good girl, so, like, she's not gonna ask for, like, stupid stuff. Okay. So, something else that I did. Oops, it's not in there. I'm trying to make him continuously look interested in the item below. And this moves over because his scar is like in the middle of that, and otherwise it wouldn't be covering it. He got this scar when he was a little kid, so... Consistency in story is important, and it's something that's very hard to think about when you're just drawing, to be honest. That's better. He looks like he's actually got a proper face now. Where did he get that scar? So he's always got the scar on his cheek, which you can see. He got that from some kids that don't like him. So unfortunately, because he is a kid of mixed races, like in a very prestige happy environment, they don't like him. They also because of the like the kids he had like around him, they fear getting to know him, so they just basically do the easiest thing, which is to like be a jerk instead. Who am I fighting? Those meddling kids. Yeah. But yeah, no, it's one of those cases, because it happens, obviously. But like, all the elves and stuff like that, they're very specific on what they tolerate in their kingdom and stuff like that. And unfortunately, like, a mix of races is not generally allowed, but it's not generally allowed because of actual medical reasons. So like some races it's fine, like if you mixed a one of the Neko tribe with a human or something, it'd be fine. There wouldn't be any like big issues with it. But you might have problems when you've got a human which has a very like short lifespan in comparison to like a high elf who has a very, very large lifespan, where you can use your lifespan as a weapon. Because then when you've mixed the two with the DNA, it clashes to a point where this person probably shouldn't actually exist. So what happens then is you end up with a kid that's probably only going to live a very, very short amount of time. And so other kids in that area aren't going to want to have to go through the idea of suffering after losing a friend. So they keep him at bay, like they want to keep him at a distance. And the same goes for family members. They don't want to get to know this kid that might only live like a couple more years. You're gonna beat up whoever's me now. I know, right? I did the same thing. This is why Laz is there. He'll beat up those kids. I mean, he probably would, actually. He has no problem, like, putting people in their place, which is why I love him. Are you saying Ethan shouldn't exist? Sadly, yes. Okay, so this is all story-based stuff because I like doing this stuff, it's fun. So, in the world where Ethan lives, and the city he grew up in a big elven city. It's all built underground in like this gigantic cave. And it's all run by the high elves. So there's two tiers of elves. There's the normal elves, which are kind of snooty. They think they're better than most people. And then there's the high elves, and the high elves rule literally the entire city. And there's only a population of maybe 20 high elves at a time. They don't often, when they have kids, they don't often actually have another high elf child. They have, like, normally I guess just another elven child. So it's not often that they'll have like the same powers as their parents. But then when you get like that odd occurrence of like intermixing, it doesn't work with any of the other races they have. So it only works if they marry another elf rather than marrying a human dude like Elena did, because he was good dude. I mean, I'd totally date Gabranth, right? Hopefully Andy won't like it. I mean, Andy'd date Gabranth. I mean, he's just great. Yeah, poor Ethan. But some stuff happened, and he didn't die at the age they thought he was gonna die at. He survived, and then his mother passed away, which was very sad, and his dad disappeared because his dad didn't know what to do, and he got sad, so he disappeared. And then he met Laz, this dude, old man who's just great. I think he's just been called out, yeah. Pi is gonna kiss Gabranth, apparently, guys. Doesn't he have a body pillow? He does! I got a Gabranth body pillow, and we actually use it at nighttime, like, stick it up on the bed to, like, lean our backs on, because it's really comfy. It's like, oh damn, you finally lit up my secret! Yeah. So, yeah, I've actually thought, like, a lot about, like, a lot of little things, including, like, there's a lot of little secrets around Gabranth as well. So, for example, there's a symbol that's used a lot. Then there's a couple of characters that you guys have already seen, one being Seth, who popped up at a wall. And then you've got little instances that kind of make no sense, but do if you understand story lore. For example, Seth used to have a different color hair. And then you've got some pocket watches and whatnot around. You've got some, like, there's a lot of weird things I like just sticking in the middle of nowhere because I can. I'm trying to figure if I like that or not. Yeah, I think that does. It adds depth to his face, which I need. So yeah. Oh, I'm happy you like my channel. Yeah, I really want to be able to, like, fully animate all these episodes, because I've actually written a ton. Like, I finally wrote Laz into the actual story script, and I got so excited. Yeah, Gab will eventually have white hair. So, no, when you get old, you normally have grey hair, not white hair. Unless you're elven. Elvens have white hair, just because I really like it, so they kind of just have it. Hime looks gorgeous with her white hair. There's also a couple of pictures I've shown once before of Gabranth. One when he was, like, falling in water, but he actually had streaks of white hair. What inspired you to make the story? I just like stories a lot. So I kind of, like, if I see someone writing a story and then I have an idea of what I could add to it, I kind of just add those things to my own stories. Is he still gonna be fab even with white hair? Yeah, he is. He's Gabranth. He can't not be fab. To be honest, I'm happy with the amount of subs that I have now. Like, obviously I don't have a huge number, and not a lot of people really stick around to watch my series, which, like, obviously that sucks a little bit, because you put a lot of effort into something and you know not everyone's gonna see it. But at the same time, the people that do stick around and watch it are extremely nice, and they're excited to see what I make, and I'm very happy that I have that small group. I don't need a large group. I just want, like, a couple of people who are willing to listen to my ramblings about my OCs. and that's enough for me. I'm happy. Is it because you can have conversations? Yeah, to be honest, like, if I had a really, really big fan base, I wouldn't be able to talk to people as one-to-one. And, like, there's a reason why big YouTubers can't do certain things, and it's often because you can't give everyone the same treatment anymore, because there's too many people. Looks like I have to get rich and fund your story and internet. Oh my gosh, Boswell. One day, that would be great. I'm trying to earn more money so I can do stuff like that myself. I'm trying to write a fantasy story of my own. Oh, okay. I am so happy when people make their own stories and characters, and then, like, every now and then someone will do fan art, but they'll put their character with mine. It's, like, so awesome, because it's like a meld of, like, two ideas. And it's exciting to see, like, what somebody else has come up with for their entire own concept. Like, I used to get commissions from Boswald. He did it all the way up until I stopped taking commissions. But, like, I used to get little snippets of stories for the characters he'd asked me to draw. And it was one of the coolest things. Because, like, I love seeing other people's imagination with their stories and stuff. It's just really cool. And I wish more people would do that. Like, it's cool to get excited about somebody else's stuff, but it's different when you get excited enough to start your own. And you're not starting it because you just want to get rich and famous and whatever else. You're starting it because there's a genuine interest in that thing. So, those characters look like they're from... I don't think so. Realistically not. I don't think you would have a child in League of Legends that doesn't really do anything and looks like a normal child. Maybe Laz, just because I imagine with his arm he could do some damage, but compared to all of the other ones that are a lot more over the top, probably not. If you mean that it looks like it could be concept art, then that's great. I'm okay with that. Griswold is our favorite character. I love your characters so much, Boswald. I loved the fact they were all animal themed, because it was different than what I was used to doing. Because I have a couple of, like, animal themed characters. I've got Carrot Zero and Relic, and then there's a teddy bear. I don't know why I made the teddy bear, but I did. And the teddy bear has a deep voice like Tama, which I never got actually to put in my story one day. That's for Carrot's World, which Carrot's World was put on hold because Ethan's one was such a big story and undertaking that I just didn't have time to do both at once. And I didn't have the funds to do both at once. Ever thinking of making a game for your story? I thought about it, but nothing would really convey the characters the way I'd like them to. What, a teddy bear since when? His name is Ted, and I've had him for about the same amount of years that I've had Kaizen. He's just a teddy bear that is really weird. Yeah, I do have an Instagram. I do not sound like a boy. Legitimately, my voice, if it did sound like a guy, that'd be great, because then I could voice my hunky dudes, and I can't, which sucks. Sadly. You're talking about a teddy bear that had one headband covering one eye, yeah, with the word love written on it. I had so many stupid things on characters' faces. Like, I put a belt on Ruckus's face as an eye patch. The weird teddy bears are the best teddy bears. Yep. I liked the idea of having, like, a super buff themed teddy bear. So the idea for the teddy bear was, we had a character called Bunny, and any toy that she owned, she could basically make it come to life, but it came to life with the personality of the person who loved it the most. And this teddy bear that she's got hanging around her, which is like torn and been sewn back up, and he's got stuffing coming out and everything, it was owned by this big, gruff bounty hunter who just really liked cute things. So it just walks around and it's decided to look after this little girl because he's going to make her grow up right. But he's just a really weird bear who carries around a baseball bat and hits people with it. How do you shade your drawing without ruining it? Probably look up a bunch of tutorials about lighting and also figuring out what you want to do in terms of your basic, like, shading stuff. So, you know, like ambient occlusion, how to make your shading, just sort of like create the shape you want. You don't think about it more as shading, you just think about it, how can you make the shape look more like the shape you want. That'd be nice if you were able to voice your own characters. I know, right? I wish. You loved Ruckus's sword. Yeah, I really liked his sword too. So his sword was made from a dragon. I had a weird obsession where all of my stories had, like, the last dragon in it. Literally. It's, Kaizen's the last dragon. Ruckus's sword was the last dragon. There was another one that had just, like, the last dragon in it. I'm just like, yeah, this is absolutely terrible. Although they come from, like, for pretty useful stuff. That means you would love your own voice there. I'm okay with that. Look, I want to be able to voice, like, the hunky dudes. It's really hard to do that when you have a girly voice that can only go into a specific pitch because you're not a dude. Rude. I love how I'm not upset at the fact that someone says I sound like a boy. I'm sad at the fact that I don't. Honestly, you would too. I know, right? We got talking about the real problems of life. Okay, I gotta like fix his hair, which I've just left dormant for a while. I'm gonna put a lighter color behind just so it makes the hair stand out. Ethan didn't have long hair like his dad. He's just got messy short hair. Okay, I think I've actually, like, fixed it. Everything looks nice when zoomed in, but it's hard to make it look nice otherwise. Who were Gab's parents? His parents were... I don't have names for either of them, but one is very similar to Laz. He's one of Laz's drinking buddies. And the other is a very, very shy lady who's short, like me. She's a very, very nice lady. So, I eventually have to draw those two. They're still around. Yeah, it's hard trying to figure out what who to cast as your characters, because like sometimes it'll be a case of you think someone's gonna work, but when you hear it with the image, it just doesn't quite feel like it's right. but it's really hard to find stuff. Holy crap, how old is that? He's like he is got grey hair. So like he's not young, he's like in his 60s. Harry, oh my gosh, yay! I'm so happy that it makes you like happy. You want to have your OCs as shimijis on your laptop. You should be able to download shimijis and then just change the pictures of them to ones you make yourself. Obviously, just don't trace them. Laz doesn't seem to be that old. I mean, if you look at him, he kind of has a very old-looking face. He looks good for his 60s. Yeah, he's not a young guy. I've always designed him to be a lot older. So yeah, he's older than most of my characters. Although technically he's not older than what's this called? He's not older than Kaizen, and he's not older than. I can see where Gab gets his awkwardness from. Yeah, he's not older than Tama either. Tama's actually Tama's actually a little bit older. Oh, actually no. I guess Tama's like his 40s technically. So no, he's not really that old either. Although Tama spent a lot of time around Kaizen. Me can draw on me own. You're an independent artist. I'm very happy for you. He's a very buff boy. Yeah, he is. He like works out still with his robot arm. So one thing I have to do is I gotta get texture, or I've got to at least like look up a reference for texture for metal and then do that one. Originally all I was supposed to do with this was clean up the faces just a little bit, and then it turned into me just like completely redoing half of the face and making it realistic for some reason because I kept adding more details. Do you like listen to music or something when you draw usually? Yeah, I kind of just always have something on in the background, but with the personality I have, I don't like silence. It really bugs me and it tends to make me anxious, so I put music on or something on in the background. If I'm like really trying to get into the mood of drawing my OCs, I'll put OC Chronicles on in the background. I'm sure half the views that I have are my own, just because I'm still proud of the audio. And I like hearing Gabranth, because Gabranth's great. I also like hearing Tama, because Tama's great. Every now and then I can hear Andy, because Andy was one of Teresa's henchmen. I need to draw more Teresa, because I don't actually have Teresa in a lot of episodes. I have rewritten her into the script, though. She does appear later. And it is glorious. No, I don't like the shape of his face. No, no, no. That's better. Okay. Trying to fix stuff. See you later, puzzle pencil. Need art tips. Depends on what you're drawing and the style you're drawing in. I'm glad people enjoy like watching it every now and then. I'm really hoping my series will, I guess like just make people want to make their own stuff. That's like the idea for most of my stuff. Like I want people to look at art and go, oh man, that art's great, and want to make art because art's great, rather than wanting to make art because art can give you views. Good art doesn't necessarily mean views, which is a little sad, because it'd be nice to see a lot more of the talented, I say talented, but the highly skilled artists. It'd be nice to see them get a lot more recognition than they generally do. Most of the recognition goes to people who draw topical stuff or just do like the whole challenges stuff. It doesn't generally go to those who have years in like the industry. Although that's starting to change a little bit, which is nice. can't believe I've been streaming for almost 2 hours. Jeez. It kind of just like creeps up on you the time. I won't stream for too much longer. Sadly, I didn't get like a ton done. But his face looks nicer, so I mean, crisis averted. I got to the main meat and potatoes. No, that's not right. Technically, that can come up, I think. Yeah, it can. I have to do way more studies. But it's good practice, so. It's also really interesting to see how the face changes depending on your age and expression. Looks yeah, that's because I haven't gotten rid of the old one, so. I missed half the stream, but oh well. I mean, you still made it, so I am proud. Also, I think this needs to actually be moved, because like if I put my own hand, I have a mirror specifically so that I can see what's it called, the hand I want. So like you can't actually see the thumb. You might see like the knuckle where it bends, but you don't really see like the whole thing. Where do you see it though? It's a little bit further down from the actual knuckle, but this needs to be longer, which means that this actually needs to go up higher. I am still learning. Hands are awful. I hate them, even though I need them. I think the bottom of the hand is okay. Yeah, it's not really that long, so I'm just gonna move the pinky up a little bit, like that. So this is gonna, the thumb is like here, pretty much. Yeah, his real hand, because his real hand's in the sunlight as well, I had to make sure it looks alright. Yeah, studies are really important. Do you make any plant animal species for the universe? For my stuff, yeah, actually. I had to do Tama's office, because Tama is a doctor. And all of the stuff that they use is generally made from different kinds of plants, etc. So I actually had to go and look up a bunch of medical plants. Then I had to draw some of those, and then I had to design some new ones along with what they would actually do beneficial, like health-wise. Animals, I haven't designed a lot. I've designed one boar, which I used for an animatic that has not come out, and I don't know if it ever will. But, yeah, I still have to design a lot of stuff for this world. Ethan got caught in the vines. Yeah, there's also that. So there's a, like, blood-sucking vine that lives in one specific forest. It's not a pleasant one. I mean, I toned it down from what it was originally compared to how Ethan first got caught. But, yeah, I made it more family-friendly. I say that, there's still a blood-sucking vine. But I made it more family-friendly, guys. It was way worse before that. Yeah, I'm gonna make a cat-like creature. I've also made the snail, and I've made Teresa's spider. Trying to make sure that Laz doesn't look like he's chunky either, because he's not a big boy in that sense. He's got more muscle than he does, like, body fat. But he's not slim either. He still has, like, I guess a pretty average kind of build. Apart from the muscle structure, obviously. Kimiko had fun with that vine. Yeah. There's another script with that, actually, that I have, which I haven't been able to do yet. Trying to make sure I also get the fingernails and stuff in. So a lot of things that I don't normally draw when I draw stylized stuff is I don't normally draw things like fingernails, I don't draw lips. Quite often I won't draw like subtle details or even like hair. Sometimes I'll just all clump it all together and you won't see strands of it. But it depends on the style you go for, because like chibis you wouldn't add things like that. You don't normally see fingernails on chibis. Lol, no, I don't want to like just rip something from somebody else's design. That's too lazy. It's also technically like a copyright violation. If I'm gonna design stuff, it'll be designed specifically to fit for the narratives that I want and inside the world, because everything is designed in a specific way. So like shadow stuff, there is already something that exists in terms of a shadow thing, so I can't like just go and rip it for something else. Okay, if I'm gonna... Yeah, I think I need to darken the eyebrows a little bit. That helps. Okay, I'm good now. This entire thing has literally just been me trying to figure out what helps make the expression look the way I want when it's zoomed out, so... You have a realistic style, so when you draw Gab the other day, you didn't know how to do his hair. Yeah, his hair is a little bit weird. So basically, his hair has got the same fringe as Ethan. It has one piece that comes through the middle, and then one piece that comes on either side of the eyes. Then the rest of it at the back is all shaved, pretty much, so it's cut really, really short. This may have been explained before. What happened to Elaz's arm for him to be a robot boy? It's never been explained, and I won't be explaining it because I'll probably have to do that within a story. Because there's a lot of things with Laz, that I gotta do. Laz is basically like one of those characters that ties things together a lot. Also, one thing that I really am excited to do, which not a lot of people do, is obviously like you've got the bad guys and you've seen one of the bad guys, obviously. So it's interesting when you've got a character that is like part of the main group that was friends with like the people you consider bad. Just because like it gives you a different narrative on seeing the other side of the party, if that makes sense. Because not all characters are bad. Sometimes it's just like their ideals don't mesh with yours and the morality of it is like warped in your opinion. So you kind of just end up obviously with the differing clash of opinions, or just two races trying to survive against one another. So yeah. Oh yeah, Kaizen, even I have problems drawing Kaizen's hair. I keep changing his hairstyle to fit like however I'm drawing easier. I just blob it on because that's how I drew it when I was young. You are a perfect being and you inspire me so much. Aww! Thank you so much, Sleek. That's really sweet. I'm hoping to see what Laz makes in the story too. Yay! I'm so excited to share Laz. So this picture, even though I don't have a speed paint for it because I've been drawing it on my own time, not like recording, I plan on pretty much like doing a just like the still image on screen and having a little scenario go behind it. Maybe I'll put some like lighting effects or something on it. But yeah, that's what I'm gonna do for this one, and I might do the same for the picture of Tama and Fluff when they went to the concert that I did. So that's another one. Kaizen's hairstyle is so inconsistent. Of course it is, because it makes no sense, and I know this. Is your art style like this or more like the animation style? Both? I draw in like multiple styles. There's a lot of my artwork. So like, you can see here, I can draw like super chibi, I can draw slightly less chibi, I can draw old man, I can draw like less realistic, stick in between cartoony. I just like drawing lots of different stuff. It's more fun to see what I can do. And now I know what was wrong with Ethan. His eye was too far out. I'm just gonna move it in. Look at that! It's much better. Now he doesn't look really weird. I like drawing my characters as kids as well. Drawing them as a kid kind of gives you a little bit of a look as to what they were like before all of these horrible events happened that I did to them, because I'm a terrible person. You know, the old man style, everyone's favorite. Yeah. I love when you do cartoony styles. Yeah, I really like some of my cartoony stuff. I did a chibi yesterday that was different. Flipping it. Ignore his eye. Actually, yeah, that looks really good. Woo, it did it! It doesn't look terrible now! Yay! That was the entirety of everything. I also forgot one of his tattoos. I haven't done his tattoo. This is also not the finalized arm that's in his concept art that I did. That is his third arm. He had a lot. It didn't look terrible earlier. Look, okay, it looked terrible to me because it didn't look the way that I wanted it to look. And I'm still learning how to draw faces. I also put the part in Ethan's hair properly. Like, that exists now. I'm very proud of that. I'm really, like, what's it called? I'm trying, like, my hardest to get better and better and better to the point where, like, I could get into... get to the, what's it called? Industry standard? Also, Ethan is a teen. He's 19. So, technically, how I draw him now is, like, how you normally see him. This is him about, like, 8 to 10 years old when he first met Laz. He knew him for a good amount of years. I love the way you just say whatever actually read what we say. Yeah! I'm very happy that you guys enjoy the fact that I do that. I'm trying to figure out if I should go to the next picture, if I should actually finish sketching some more of this one until I finish. Although I have to actually go through and fix his entire metal arm and make it look more like metal, and then put his tattoo on his arm. Ethan's your age. Yeah, he's like pretty much that kind of thing. I like jumping around drawings. Yeah, I normally have a couple of drawings that I do. So I had the snail one that I was working on, which is obviously finished. There's this one, which is going to take me probably another week before I've got it 100% finished. And I plan on putting a bunch of these pictures into like one book when I finish properly. I'm gonna sketch a new one. Whoop. I'm gonna close this one because I don't need it. And I'll close that one too. Yo! How do elves know that Ethan is a human elf? Because his ears are shorter. So, like, let's put it here. No, I want my sketching brush. I've become so specific, I need it. Okay. This is my sketching brush. It looks like a pencil, so it just makes me happy. So, a normal elf ear in this world is like that long. Ethan's are like half the size. I know I'm late for stream, but what product do you use to draw? I use Photoshop. It's a software that you purchase on a monthly basis. Do you have any hobbies other than drawing? I like voice acting. I'm just writing it down now. I like audio mixing. And writing. This is fun. I'm just gonna leave this here while I sketch. I can't remember what else. There was something else. Baking. Even though I haven't done it in like a year. Or 2 years. I haven't done it in a while. I imagine Alina was fairly well known. Yeah, she was, so when she passed away, there was a huge, like ceremony, because it's not often that a high elf dies, because they have a really, really long lifespan. So, for example, you've got, like, your usual elf, who are, like, kind of like rich, well-off, plebs. So it's just like they can do magic stuff and whatnot. And then you've got your high elves, which are like, they come off like way more elegant, normally have like really long hair, like taller, and have a little bit more of like an elegant presence. And their magic is used from their life force. So a normal elf would live maybe about 400 to 500 years old. And a high elf can live anywhere between like 600 to 1,500 years old. You should write a whole book. I would love to, but I can't type much because I get RSI problems. Was Alina as tall or taller than... She was actually shorter. Because Gabranth is about 6 foot. He's a tall boy. And Alina could come up to about here. She's also the one who asked him to marry her. He would never ask a girl to marry him because he's really bad at communicating. So good at drawing like sketches a bit off. It's just because I'm drawing a long time. So I'm going to draw a chibi for a change, but I'm going to see if I can draw something a bit more interesting like I did yesterday. I don't want to show people what I drew yesterday because it was a gift for a friend, so I'm just gonna like leave it as that. Just watch Ethan fall down the side of my screen. What if you spoke into something that types? I've tried that, but like the way I type, I find it just makes more of a problem, and then I've got to fix too much, so it kind of just hurts my shoulder. If you have the longest ears, does that make you the highest elf? LOL. No, the high elves are the one that governs like the whole entire underground city. And they are normally comprised of a lot of older, because obviously they've been around for a very long time. So there's very few women that are high elves. Normally it's a male trait, but Alina was a high elf. She's a very pretty one. Everyone loved her a lot. She loved outside though, so she's very interested in other cultures. But they all govern like the entire city, and that city kind of like has a hold over most of the other races as well. Because a ton of races all live under that, basically as protection, because they don't like the humans. Humans and them have got like a feud going on. So they all sit under the, kind of the cover of a city that's like built underground. I drew one of these yesterday. This exact same angle, but like it's interesting to try and replicate it after you've drawn it once. Unfortunately, because eyebrows come forward quite a lot, like it's very easy to assume the character looks angry when in fact they're just happy. But yeah, I'm trying to do as much as I can with OC Chronicles, even if I can't do it all day, which, you know, it sucks, but like it'd be fun. What exactly happened with the humans and what's the feud about? Okay, so when we had the Elven city and that, so they started getting rid of the dragons. So there used to be dragons. Dragons were the ones who governed everything because they were the highest knowledge. They had the best knowledge out of everybody. Then the elves and humans and every other race basically banded together to take them out because they didn't want to be ruled under them anymore. Even though the dragons literally just left them alone and let them do their own thing. But the elves are jerks, so they kind of caused this issue. So all of the dragons were gone except one. They found an egg a long time later, and that's what Kaizen came from. And then the elves started fearing the humans because the humans were starting to learn, like, they couldn't use magic, but they started using and learning more useful tools, so they could create tools to use magic, etc. Or they were kind of dabbling in stuff they shouldn't have. So the elves started getting wary, and they basically kicked them out of their city, and then there became like this big feud. But it didn't become a big problem until like the king of the city that the humans lived in passed away and a new person came into power. And they're just like, you know what? We're gonna beat up all the elves because you can. So that happened. That was good fun. I like creating like an entire world. So like obviously Ethan's the main character, but any single one of my characters could be the main character. That's pretty much like the way I like to write my stories. So Alina, even though she died, she could have been the main character of her own arc and it would have worked perfectly well. Same with Kaizen. Kaizen actually could and probably would have made a better main character because his arc started way back in the beginning and he has more knowledge than most of the other characters because all of the other characters were born after him. But it's just, you know, Ethan's story is the one I wanted to tell first because he was the OC I made first. There's also Kimiko's story, which I'm going to get into at some point. Humans are always thought as evil kind because ignorance. Pretty much, but the elves, to be honest, the actual bad guys in that sense are not the humans, but the elves. Because the elves want to pretty much like rule over all of the other races, and humans, because of the way that we are, we don't like being governed over by someone else. We like our independence and we work hard to keep our independence. So that was the idea of that one, is humans basically decided that they didn't want the elves deciding everything for them anymore. They wanted to be able to do the stuff that like everyone else could do. And use it to benefit like their own kingdoms and stuff like that. And the elves didn't like that, so they created a problem but then blamed it on the humans. So the humans aren't really bad in that aspect. But the elves, yes and no, because obviously like new elves won't have that same kind of thought process. Alina was the opposite. She absolutely adored all other races and wanted to learn like a bunch of stuff about outside culture, but she didn't live very long, so of course they can't add that kind of thing to the council because she's not there anymore. And now they've got a mixed race high elf, which they didn't want the world to know about because he didn't die as a child, so they're like, oh crap, what do we do? And then he ran away, so now they're kind of stuck because he's actually out in the world and people are starting to notice that there's this really weird blue power all over the place. You miss your art class. Yeah, I kind of missed that too. Hello, Daniel. I've just realized that I'm still streaming it. It's been 2.5 hours. I think I'll stop in like, maybe when it hits the 2:30 mark, I'll hop off. I was gonna draw Alina. I know I've got a sticker of her, but I don't know where I put it. I don't need that, because I already know what the form is. She's got super long hair, because long hair is magical and I like it a lot. And Gabranth thought it was pretty. She thought he was great looking. You admire people that do art. That's good. I'm proud. Art is a lot of fun, and it should... the best art generally comes from that. But learning the fundamentals, if you want to get better at it and get a job in it, that's where you have to actually like put in the effort to learn a lot more about the fundamentals. Okay, actually, if I want, I'm gonna have to move that. I want her to be leaning like that way. Alina is spelled with 2 E's instead of an I. So Alina. How did Alina die? That's actually spoiler territory, so I can't actually say. But yeah, it's it does tie in as to why Ethan didn't, so. But it's like, yeah. It's always like an interesting thing to like think about certain things. I've left a lot of like small hints in the actual series just because there were lots of little things I wanted to like put out without actually spoiling the whole thing, so people could have something to look at and try and think of. This hair reminds me a little bit of Faith, which I haven't drawn in like forever actually. I had like a fox character that I used to draw a lot of. I haven't drawn her much because she doesn't have a like, she has a story, but she's not in any of the universes that I draw at the moment, so. Who is your favorite character to draw? Gabranth. Probably. He's like muscular, so he's hard to draw, but I like drawing him for some reason. Would explaining Ethan's power be too spoiler territory? No, I actually explained it a little bit in one of the episodes. Kimiko talks about it, and she pretty much like talks about the fact that it's warm despite the fact you can't touch it, and that's because it's his own life force. So he can do anything with it, within reason, obviously. So most of the time it's like an illusionary thing, but he can't use too much, obviously, otherwise he'd use up a lot of his lifespan. Using a certain amount, like there's a threshold he can take. As soon as he's lost more than a couple of hours, it gives him like side effects. So you'd have things like what's it called? My brain is like just died. So he'd start getting things like headaches or not being able to use his power properly. So like it'd become like almost warped, and stuff like that. So there are also like just usual things because your body has to readjust. His lifespans has just basically been changed. So that's why like he only uses certain things. Him using like the butterflies and stuff that I always draw with him, it doesn't cost anything generally because it comes back because he can control it that way. But if he's creating something like physical, like he creates a big staff that he uses, which has 2 scythe blades on the end of it, and that becomes a physical object, but only for a split second. But that split second costs him every time he uses it. So we've got like an actual pole in the middle of it, and the pole is a physical item, so he doesn't have to use that if he's blocking. If he were to reproduce either with a human or an elf, what would come of it? If he was to, he probably wouldn't have a kid that would have the same powers as him, because he's like it's a rare ability on its own. It'd be like a really low % chance. There's also a possibility that because of how weird his DNA is, in the sense that he might not actually be able to have kids. So, like, I like running with the ideas of, like, there are certain things that medically wouldn't work. So, yeah. Oh, lol. Yeah, no, it doesn't take long to sketch something. It takes a little bit longer when I'm, like, not paying enough attention. I actually have her neck facing one way, but she's not. I'm actually going to change the pose and have her sit back like I had originally. It's probably a little bit more ladylike. So, if I'm to do that, let's use the... This is what happens when you're not paying attention. You screw up the entirety of, like, a form. So the body moves back, and then to balance yourself, you would probably move your arms forward, so your arms would be sitting like here. And I'm probably going to give her her high elf outfit, because it's the thing that she wore the most often. And also all the butterflies that she does, she's the one who came up with those. So they were something that she used a lot, and it was generally used as comfort and safety. So of course when Ethan uses them when he's older, he associates it with being safe, so it's more relaxing to him. She just really liked butterflies a lot. She used them around Gabranth too. Gabranth really liked the butterflies. He doesn't like them as much anymore. I'm not sure why I'd add a boat. She's obviously sitting on something flat. So Ethan is like a mule. Yeah, pretty much. So it's like one of those cases. Yeah, Ethan, yeah, he did. So it's like that. I'm gonna be honest, I can't say because every frame's different. I don't really think I can average out how long it would take me. I like her outfit. Everything was like all drapey, like, you know, like those clothes that just drape over everything. And then she had like this little circlet, which I don't draw very often, so I kind of forget what it looks like. So do you help with animations? I am the one that animated on the channel last. Like, you can see a video that's got only my 2D animation in it. I've had quite a few animated series when characters have to do something animation where the characters always play a sort of homage to the... Yeah, pretty much. Like, a lot of, like, my characters are based on things that I either deal with myself or, like, I wish I had. Like, Kimiko is very straightforward. She does everything in a very selfish manner, and there's, like, a lot of times where I wish I was more like that. And then there's also... Ethan is a lot more curious, which I guess is actually more me now than I used to be. Gabranth is definitely my anxiety and depression just there. Elena is the side, like, I guess every girl has, where they wish they were, like, elegant and beautiful, had long hair that touched the floor. Please don't call my husband, like, Garroth. It's, like, not that hard to figure out what his name is. And our lives, obviously revolve a lot more outside of, like, AFMAO stuff. AFMAO is, like, work for us. Everything outside on our own channels are ours. Like, so obviously when you come to my channel, I would be a lot happier if you were enjoying my stuff. So, like, my characters, what I do, rather than, like, what we do for someone else, if that makes sense. Husbando. Oh no, just my husband. I got a ring that says he's mine now. No one else may have him. So, waha. Alina, you're pretty. Has Ethan changed from being a reclusive? Yeah, a little bit. Like, so, when I first made Ethan, he was very, like, he was a loner. He didn't like being around other people much. He was kind of a little bit cold, but not. He's kind of like the typical guy from most protagonist anime shows. So, like, now he's very curious because he's in a world that he hadn't seen a lot of, like, only in books. So now he's out living in it with Kimiko, and everything is interesting. So he's learning things. He's got, like, mechanics as something that he's learned how to do. So if he sees something that's robotic, it's going to immediately, like, spark huge interest. And I've gotten a lot more interested in stuff I never thought I would, which is cool. Painting. I don't like painting IRL because it's annoying to have to wait for things to dry. So I paint digitally because it's fun and I don't have to wait for things to dry. And if it looks bad, I can move it. So I much prefer it, like, doing it that way. Flip. Yeah, she still looks fine flipped, so that's fine. And I'll put some base colors on it, and then I'm just gonna, like, sloppily shade it, and then we be done. And I'm gonna cheat and do it this way. Yes, I found her. I'm sorry, I changed your hairstyle for this one picture, Elena. This is Elena. She's pretty. She's got, like, silvery white hair. she's got one son, she has a husband, and she's got a father and a sister. And her mother, who I don't really talk about, like, ever. She's nice. Her father's a horrible dude, though. We don't like him much. And she really, really, really liked going out into places she shouldn't have, which is where she found Gabranth. Then she took him home, because why not? I really like Elena, because she's the... What's it called? She's a very, very, like, loud, kind of, like... I can't think of the word. She's direct, and she'll just, like, get very excited about something and energetic about it. So everything is, like, super interesting. She's a lot like Ethan, but she actually, like, went out and did stuff a lot faster than he did. She's got the same pretty blue eyes as Ethan. He got them from her. I'm gonna give her a... She's got a different top on this time. I imagine it'd have, like, 2 or 3. I can change it a little bit when I paint it, though. But yeah, she's one of my characters. I don't see it, like, obviously because she's not technically alive in the series anymore. Like, you won't see her drawn as much. Is she? Everything I've drawn is my OCs, and no, Andy doesn't draw, he's a VA. She's very, very pretty. Yay, I'm glad. The ship art? I don't think I've done ship art. Unless it was for, like, work. By the way, guys, I ship Tama and Kaizen. They will be a couple. Yeah. Sorry, Elena, your outfit's changed. It's not my fault, I swear. Yeah, if you ever want to, like, just chat with me, the best way to chat with me is about the garbage I draw on my channel. It's not garbage, but, you know, like, I'm gonna call it garbage because I'm a trash can, so I can. But there you go, that's Alina. And he's pretty good though. Yeah, he does, like, every now and then he'll draw, but it's not like something he does much. I do not have a favorite breed of dog because I love all dogs because dogs are my favorite thing. Tama, okay, Kaizen is straight, so it's not gonna happen. He's not bi, he's just straight because this happens, like, Tama is gay. He loves Kaizen a lot, but he also respects Kaizen a lot. So he's never, like, he'll joke about it, but he's never ever gonna push for something like that. He just wants to see Kaizen happy. He's goals. I would like my life to have more people like Tama in it, just saying. He's a good boy. Not to mention, like, with his job, he gets to see, like, Kaizen basically nude, so he's very happy with his job, so that's fine. Forever in the friend zone, yeah, pretty much that. Yes, Kaizen was married. I say was just because his wife lived a full life. Him being as old as he is, unfortunately she can't live the same amount of years as him. But they lived a full happy life together. She adored every minute she was with him, and she grew into, literally, like, he stayed with her even while she was growing old and he was not. So they were a good couple. I'm going through your Insta and wow, yeah, I'm sorry, some of those pictures look at me really old. My best picturing I've ever made, this one. Because it has perspective in it, and an old man that looks like an old man, and a kid that looks like a kid. It's probably that. Are there any of your characters that are together? There's Gabranth's parents, there's Hime's parents, there's what's it called? There was Gabranth and Elena. They were together. And obviously Kaizen did have a wife at one point. So there's not a lot of like budding or new budding relationships, but there are a lot of ones that already had relationships or are currently already in one. So, I mean, people want Kimiko and Ethan to be a couple, but I'm sorry to tell you that it's not going to happen. Because Kimiko is not the type of person to settle down. And she's also, like, Ethan is, he's the kind of person that would be happy to settle down. Kimiko would keep wanting to go and explore and go places and not want to be tied down with children. And she wouldn't do what her parents did. So, everything you do is so good. Thank you. I'm really happy. Yeah, I've seen Tokyo Mew Mew. It was kind of, it wasn't like bad, but it wasn't one that really captivated me much. My favorite animes though tend to be more like themed on like the guyish stuff. So like I really like the shonen bits and pieces and stuff. I really like manly anime with manly things, even though I'm not manly in the slightest. Why can't I be manly too? Get the color back. Oops. I do like One Piece. One Piece is great. I'd like to see Ethan around the person he crushes on. Lol. He crushes on Kimiko. Like, he does. He hard crushes on Kimiko. But he knows they're not going to be a couple, so he's just happy with them being friends. To some degree. Obviously, he's also a young boy, and he's just like, why won't she like me? That's why he gets flustered when she gets, like, too close. Alright, well that's this sorted, so I'm gonna just, like, clean it up a little bit, and then I'll hop off to my favorite brush. Where's the blur one? Because I've just been using this lately. What is the strangest thing you've seen someone comment? That characters of mine look like My Street characters when they look absolutely nothing alike. For example, Gabranth, who is a fairly like light-skinned guy with brown hair, green eyes, big muscles, and facial hair, is being called Aaron, who is a werewolf with, I think, a darker skin tone than Gabranth, black eyes or red eyes, one of the two, black hair, and no facial hair generally when you see him drawn. So I'm like, it confuses the crap out of me. And this happens for a lot of my characters. Like, every character I have, someone will say that it looks like this other character, but there is no visible, like, connection at all to them, and it confuses me so much. So that's probably, like, that's one of the strangest things that come up, and it's because it comes up so often that's just kind of, like, mind-boggling. Because people's brains just seem to be set on one thing that they can't accept a new thing. It's kind of sad, because, like, it means that I can't really get them excited about a new concept either. Because, like, obviously if one series is not giving you the things that you want, because people keep asking for, like, all of this random stuff when they ask for their favorite series, that's when you go and look for somebody else's fresh and new ideas, and you go through their stuff and get excited again, and then when you get bored of that, you go to another one. Like, that's just what it is. It sucks when people keep trying to, like, get someone that they've got, like, their own stuff, and they just try and brand it to somebody else's. Do you know the Keyblade anime? You mean Kingdom Hearts? That's not an anime. It's a game. I don't think they look like My Street Fair. Yeah, people. It's one of those cases of like they don't in the slightest, but that's all people see. So it's very mind-boggling to me. It's like Alina here. I'm sure because of her hair, I'd get comments that she looks like some random character that was like in the background one day of My Street. It's just like, okay. But in reality, there's not a lot of different character designs you can do to some extent. But that doesn't mean that every brown-haired boy with a normal outfit can't be a unique character either. It's their personalities that make up who they are and their decisions in a series, so it's exciting. I like to think they see the art style sort of and jump to conclusions. Probably. I mean, like, if you draw in any style that's not, like, realistic, it's anime. Or if you draw not quite anime, it's cartoon. But, like, there's, like, no in-between, so you can't just draw whatever you want. It has to be lumped into something. It's sad, because I feel like it limits creativity a little bit. I just like being able to make my own stuff and enjoy it. There we go, we have an Alina. She's pretty. That'll do. I think I'll leave it at that because it's been like almost 3 hours. Yeah, I use Epidemic Sound for all my music. So if you guys want to ask any more questions, I'll answer a couple more and then I'll hop off. Actually no, I do Gab and Aaron's face is quite different. So there was a point where I was obviously just learning how to draw one male face. So I tried to draw most guys, I would use the same like kind of facial features, but if you look at all of my guys now, all of them have a vastly different facial structure. And it doesn't matter now, any guy who is wearing red is Aaron, and unfortunately that's just it still annoys me to this day, but like, what do you do? It's beautiful, cute, and calming. I'm glad. This is one of my art styles. I'm looking forward to the day where I can draw whatever I want, because, you know, I've gotten better at drawing. I still have a lot of stuff to practice. Kaizen's is a rectangle. Yep, that's pretty much it. I've gone for a rectangle for Kaizen. Gabranth has got a very squarish jaw. Ethan's got a bit of a longer face and it's a little bit more narrow. And then Kimiko's is a little bit more rounded. Who else have I got? Tama's is definitely like more of an oval. So like I do base them on like a singular shape. No, I don't follow Bob Ross tutorials because it's normally for landscape and it's normally designed for traditional art, and I don't have the same kind of brushes in digital. I'd have to find like different stuff. So I kind of just follow the typical, this is how you draw certain things, understanding the concept rather than just trying to draw the same picture. I live in the UK. If we draw characters and want to show me, you can do that on Twitter. So I have a Twitter. I also have an Instagram. So those are an option. You can always tag me on like Instagram or Twitter, one of those two. Have you thought of doing one of those? Oh no, okay, I'm gonna be honest. I hate following like the whole artist trends on YouTube, like following a specific formula or format that every other big artist does. I don't want to do that. For me, art is the entire sole purpose of my channel, and the entire sole purpose of the art for my channel is to go into world building and creating cool characters and worlds for these characters to live in and get people excited about wanting to draw, rather than do these markers that are $5 look nicer than these markers that are $5,000. etc. It's just not my thing. Same with like some of the drawing challenges. They're not really challenges a lot of the time. They're just kind of an inconvenience, and it's just like, oh yeah, can you draw with this? Because I mean, everyone does them, but it's just not my thing. For me, the art comes before everything else. So you go to cons and stuff every now and then if I'm invited. I don't think I've ever been invited to one in the US, so unfortunately I don't think I'll be able to go to one over there. But like every now and then I'll go to one in the UK. Lol, no, I can't draw you something with a single line. I mean, I could do it without like taking the pen off, but what's the point? Because it's not fun. I want my drawings to be just as enjoyable to make as it is to see the finished product. Draw a sword. I already drew swords. I still gotta finish a couple more actually. I've got a lot of concept art to do for these worlds. So it's exciting though, because like that's the kind of stuff I want. I want to make people think about the stuff they draw, and think about the characters and the worlds and how characters would react to a scenario, and make people like feel something when you look at a single picture. Like I want you to look at this and feel the excitement of a little kid who's seeing something mechanical like glow for the first time. That kind of stuff. So that's pretty much what I'm trying to do. One day I will get there. Yeah, wholesome's good stuff. Anyway, I think that's probably it for this stream because I've been going for like 3 hours. I'm smart, guys. I said I was going to stop like half an hour to an hour ago and I didn't because I'm smart. So I will see you guys the next time I stream, which I don't know when that'll be. Depends on when I have work or if I'm doing like animatic stuff for OC Chronicles or finishing more art, etc. But yeah. Thank you guys. I will see you guys next time. Bye.